So I was diagnosed with celiac disease in 1998. And that was the dark, what I like to call the dark ages of gluten-free. I'd try to go to a restaurant and order gluten-free food, and people would look at me like I was part of a cult. It was not a good time to be gluten-free in 1998. It wasn't that inconvenient for me, and I didn't have to make a ton of lifestyle and dietary changes because in the early 90s, I took a yoga teacher's training, and part of that was a 3-year training additionally in Ayurvedic cooking and Ayurvedic herbs. So by the time I was diagnosed with celiac disease in 1998, I was already scratch cooking just about every meal, unless my husband wanted to go out to a restaurant. And that's when I dealt with the what the heck when I try and order gluten-free food. So it wasn't a huge lifestyle adjustment for me as a scratch cook. A couple years later, my older son was diagnosed with celiac disease at age 3. And that was where I really opened my eyes and had to make many lifestyle changes because I knew that I didn't want to raise him in a state of deprivation. And so I made it my mission to turn all of my favorite childhood recipes into gluten-free classics for him. And we did pretty well. He had severe gut dysbiosis, which is a fancy word for digestive distress. And so at that point, when he was 3, I put him on a grain-free diet, and I went on it with him as well. Things didn't get worse for him digestively. In fact, they slowly improved. And then when he entered elementary school, another big change came in our lives. And I'm just going to digress for a minute and ask, how many people here are moms? How many people here have children? So if your children are already in grade school, then you know that at least back when my son's now in his 20s, but back in the day when he went into first grade, we had a birthday party every single month when he was in first grade. And I didn't want my kid to sit in the side of the room eating something different than his peers. I wanted him to be able to break bread with the other children. So I volunteered to bake gluten-free, grain-free desserts for every child in the class, for all like 28 of them, for every birthday. And so that did 3 things. The moms didn't have to cook. The kids got to choose whatever they want, which was super fun because I love a good challenge. And then my son got to break bread with his peers. So that's how I went from gluten-free to grain-free. And then I launched my blog in 2006, elanaspantry.com. And every single recipe on it is not just gluten-free, but grain-free.